Hey guys, Merry Christmas. I am John Carrick, the author of The Legacy of the Mad Scientist and The Legend of Ashley Fox, two of the best novels you'll ever come across in your life. Today, for Christmas, I gave myself a gift. I didn't know what comic I was going to go to. The last few have been really negative, so I decided I would put my money where my mouth is and read mine to you guys. I'm not going to read the words. You're going to have to download it and read the dialogue for yourselves. The PDF is right here in the description. But this is Ashley Fox, Ninja Babysitter number 6, The Last Valkyrie. And this is a fucking awesome comic book. I have not read this since Jay and I produced it in 2015. Shortly after which my life pretty much completely fell apart. It took 3 or 4 years to fall apart, but it did. And it's taken a while to rebuild it. And there are some things in here that we had conflicts about. Here are a couple pinup shots. And here is the inside cover and the first page. Jay did a magnificent job with in the art. Okay, so one of the things we had a problem with is my racism. Because I tried to explain to him that it's really hard to see this baby's face. And he, I think, was maybe trolling me a little bit. But these are great pinups. These are great shots. Ashley is rescuing an infant in this book. And baby Sarah. Here we get the first inside cover that tells us a little bit about what's going on. This is all really well done. We will do it in color, but the words I'm especially proud of. The art is magnificent. Everything about this is really good. It's overshadowed, but the storyline is great. So this is Ashley and the Reverend looking at this big mansion castle out on a peninsula with its own waterfall. And they're talking back and forth. He's asking her, what do you see? And she's like, I don't know what. And then he tells her to take a closer look, and she numbers off the guards and entries and stuff like that. Does more tactical response. And I know I have to do something about this audio where I'm putting this in front of my words. And it's cutting off the audio to you guys. I am a little nervous doing this. I've done almost 250 of these, but showing off this comic, this is emotional for me. There's some of the layout of the word balloons isn't right, and the fonts between them. For some reason, I have to really read this slowly to get the pacing and the sort of back and forth banter that I want them to have. And if I don't read it sort of in their voice, it's not as smooth. Maybe that's because the words aren't as obvious who's saying them. That's something probably Roy Thomas was a lot better at. I'm proud of what they say, but I'm not impressed with how much different they are in the ways they say it. Like, say if one guy spoke with an English accent, maybe I could have the Reverend do that. It might be easier. But so here, there's a little bit right back here too about, she says, I think there's a river. We might have to swim. He's like, I can swim. She's like, okay. They go back and forth about, you can swim then. If you can swim, you can swim. He's half cyborg, and so he's not always waterproof, but he says he's been upgraded. He's been fixed. And they're creeping close. They swim across the river. It's cold. Here they're talking about breaking in, and Reverend Wolf is like, I could always do it my way. She says, your way will set off every alarm here. I love this comic. This is really good. Then they're going through the vaults in the basement, and these people are bottlers. And what that means is they perform sacrifices and store souls in bottles like currency. They're evil, evil people. And here there's a little more back and forth about stay close, be careful, don't screw up. And then the bad guys, you're finally here. The games can begin. The show must go on. Mock Shao. The Reverend takes out them, with a bunch of, they have exploding grenades like the Hobgoblin. He has a shotgun, and he charges them, and one of the last ones he ends up taking off a balcony and down into the water below. But he just went through like 6 explosions, so his insides are not, here's where they go off the balcony. I can't wait to show you guys this in color. We have a lot of it in color. We need to find it. When we were coloring this, my computer shorted out, and then that was $1,500 to fix. Then I basically lost a job and a girlfriend. And so we had sent this in black and white out to a comic book company we never heard back from. Which makes sense, but it's a fucking good comic. I'm so proud of this. The dialogue is good. There's some parts where it's a little clanky. And like I said, in the beginning, it's kind of, other than the fact that we used a square balloon for the Reverend and a circular one for Ashley, their dialogue was almost interchangeable, which maybe isn't good, but I'm so impressed with Jay's art. The facial expressions are fucking awesome. I just spent the last 236 days reading other people's comics, a comic a day, and I'm so proud of this. This is the best Christmas present I could have given to myself. So while the Reverend is fighting those hobgoblin assholes, Ashley sees him go over the edge, and he's down in the water, but she's got to go after the kids. They already agreed that she would stay on the kids. So she gets down to she actually has to go up, I think. Up or down? No, down. She has to go down. So they were in the basement to begin with, and she has to go down deeper to find the kids and release them. And she guesses that the code is 666, and it is, which is awesome. And then this big guy with a hook for a hand comes in, and she fights him, and this is an awesome fight. Jay did such a good job on all the art. Every panel in here is great. And I was going to talk about, I thought last night about some things I wanted to talk about, how much I hate inset panels and how I like traditional panel borders, but with modern coloring techniques. I was thinking about that. You know, what did I want to do? I was listening to Shelby Robertson last week talking about how you'll never see smoke with a black outline anymore. They always color those. And then I was watching an animated something, and they had black outlined smoke, and it was white smoke, and it fucking worked. And there's something about cartooning. I was talking with another artist friend of mine yesterday. I don't get on the phone much, but for Christmas I made a couple phone calls, and we were talking about how the cartooning of things and not drawing them exactly as they are, but a symbol that looks cool. That's, to me, that is the epitome of art, and Jay is a master at this. He is a master at this. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it fun, is the interpretation, the way you do it. Look at all these kids' faces. Look at how good he is. This guy should not be, he hasn't worked as an artist in 20 years, I think. 10 or 15 years. He worked for Marvel for a while. This guy should be working all the time. He should be at DreamWorks. But we're both victims. He's a big guy like me. He's pretty intimidating. He did a whole bunch of martial arts himself. Kali Eskrima, Filipino martial arts. His master was Master Sam. This is making me emotional. This is so good. I'm so impressed with the work that we did. This is above and beyond most of the other shit that I'm reading right now, especially the independent stuff. Jay's artwork is fucking god level. This guy is so good. He says that he needs to work on foreshortening. I know I need to work on rendering, but this foreshortening, this depth is great right here in this panel. I will give John Malin's foreshortening is fucking top shelf. Here is the fight scene where I kind of disconnected. I have to back up a little bit. I love Jay. I would not begrudge him creating characters. I don't fucking care about that kind of shit. But we were 10 years younger back then, and we both needed money for girlfriends and families that never worked out. And so we were pretty desperate. And it's interesting that word comes up, because That's exactly what I wanted to say about modern comics. Modern comics come across as desperate. When you have too many panels crowded on a page without enough borders, I think it comes across as rushed, and it can be hard for the eye to follow. And I've had that problem myself in this book, knowing which panel is next, which word balloon is next to read. So that's an issue for me, but that's probably my own personal prejudice. But if I'm going to make a comic book, I'm going to use fat panel borders and gutters. And so like this page is easy because this is obviously one big montage. So it's easy to tell what's next. And even if you get the word balloons out of order, it's kind of like people talking all at once. So this page is a little bit tougher for me because the artwork is so good. You see these big monsters behind the two bald priests? They are projections. They're astral projections. And we didn't develop a technique for this page to show that to the reader in a clearer way. I am being maybe a bit of a perfectionist, as this is, if I was honest with myself, this is a rough draft of a comic, but this is a finished rough draft of a comic. And how do you have a finished rough first draft of a comic book? That's not, you can't have that. It's like having a rough draft of a TV show. No, motherfucker. If it's gotten to the editing stage and you're roughing it, you're in serious trouble. As an editor, I would do 3 rounds of notes. No more. If I had to do more than that, it wasn't my fault. If I had to do 3 rounds of notes, I really fucked up. The first one would be 2 or 3 changes. The second one would be minor things. A third one is usually a change inside the production office. This book needed more. This book needed more light and color. Obviously, it needs color. We were also considering, how do you print black and white versus color? And what do you print? And this has all the grayscales, all the mids. This is not really an artist edition. When I think black and white, I think artist edition. Like the Tick, the Crow, those are artist editions because they didn't have grayscale back then. All they had was ink. They had to do it with ink and zip tones. They had to do it traditional. They didn't have a computer to help them. Most importantly, they didn't have Control-Z or a Wacom tablet. But that said, this fucking comic is awesome. So, I should back up. Ashley rescues baby Sarah from these 2 bad guys, and she kills them. And because I think this should be a 2-page spread. I think this was drawn at 22 by 17. I think Jay drew this on 2 sheets of paper the first time. And it broke my heart that this 2-page exchange, plus we didn't line it up right. Those 2 pages should be facing each other. There should be an ad here or something if we're going to do this. She should be on this side, for one thing. So yeah, those are problems. But these 2 pages should be offsetting each other so that you can see them against each other. And then there's Ashley going upstairs, and now she meets one of the boss level bad guys. And this is fucking hilarious. This is really good. He talks mad smack to her about how he's going to eat her and cook her on the grill and cook the baby. And oh, their skin's so tasty when it's golden brown. And this is hilarious bullshit. And all his bad guys are fucking retards too. And Ashley talks mad smack like Peter Parker. Or Spider-Man, I guess. This big guy with the chains on his fist says he's going to eat her. And she feeds him her heel instead. This is just magnificent. And her superpower is that she is a classically trained ballerina and a kung fu master. Plus, she's really fast. Yeah. This is good. I think we needed to make it clear to go like this because I myself got confused. And this is where also the way we brought in Valeria in the middle of a fight, I think we should have waited until the fight was over to bring in Valeria. But we have her interrupting Ashley. And then, oh, this is good actually. She interrupts her and then steps in to save her life. So Valeria actually interrupts the chain of events. Valeria takes action. She makes Ashley a Valkyrie. And I don't know if that needs to be addressed more. I mean, she actually did get wounded. She got cut through the liver, but I don't know if that's a death wound. It certainly doesn't look like it in this panel down here. And then there's baby Sarah, and they have to get her back to her mom. And then Ashley and Valeria go to get waffles at a nice, calm, and peaceful Waffle House in the middle of the night. No drama there. And they have a conversation about what it means to be dead and what it means to be Valkyrie. And I really like this 3 panels across the 2 pages, 3 rows. I think that works. Jay, I've never seen that before. Jay did that all on his own. That's fucking awesome. And they have a conversation, and Valeria portals them out to a lake where Ashley has to wash her hands, symbolically wash her hands, and set free the souls of all the people she's killed. Valeria doesn't tell her that's what's going on, but that's what's going on. And and there's this bit about the bottle, magic bottles. I don't know that this really got described well enough in the dialogue, but considering all the nonsense I've seen in comics recently, I'll give myself a pass for this. This is fucking awesome. Now they have to go find the big boss Ramses and settle all this bullshit that led up to everything going on here. He's the one who had Ramses is the one who had been employing the bottlers. All of this was in the first 5 issues, right? That we didn't get. This is just the last issue. I didn't even write the first 5 issues. I just said, fuck it. We know who the bad guys are. We can make it up later. And it stands up. They have to go to a graveyard, to a massive mausoleum in the middle of the night to confront this guy Ramses. And Jay created and costumed all these bad guys, and he had a blast doing it. But this is expensive work. This comic book is worth $100,000. I should be paying him, I mean, that's an awful lot of money, but even $1,000 a page. At least. He's that good. He's that good. He's as good as any of these guys in CG. Jay Arcilla is a fucking art god. And he puts me to shame. I love drawing. I'm just not as fast. I'm nowhere near as good as with the expressions. And here we have Angulimala, who has just made an appearance in the new book, but Ashley is not in the scene with him. And Ashley kills him right here. She breaks his fucking neck. She grabs him by his horns and snaps his neck and kills him right in front of all these bad guys. And he's like their biggest, baddest, craziest motherfucker. And this is right after he bit Valeria's neck. Angulimala bites Valeria's neck out, and Ashley snaps his neck, but Valeria is mortally wounded. Even as a Valkyrie, she's going to take advantage of that. And she hands her sword off to Ashley, who is a Valkyrie, but has not been knighted, hasn't been given all her armor, her vestments, as they are called. And so Valeria gives her hers, and she has this sort of Wonder Woman moment where she explodes and fucking nukes everybody. And again, given all the bullshit I've seen in good Conan comics, the plot holes, the fucking nonsense, I'll stand by this all day, every day. This is fucking awesome. And Valeria tells her the story of how, back here when they're there at the diner, of how she had been, a long time ago, a part of a rescue team for a princess, and she was shot with a poison arrow. Not with an arrow that turned into a snake, she just has a poison arrow, and they didn't have doctors back then. And it killed her. And so she became a Valkyrie. And here is Ashley. And Ashley talks some mad shit. She says, this place is worse than hell. At least there, only the guilty suffer. Here, the innocent are tortured and murdered. If God put this sword in my hand, he knows I'm going to use it. This is a great book. This is a great fucking book. Every page is cool. Here we have a wanted poster that tells basically what happens in these two stories, where Ashley leads a bunch of orphans against a serial killer administration. And there's a $30,000 reward because after that, they take out a jewelry exchange and go fuck with some pirates. That's a good story. It's about halfway written. And here's some pinups. And here is Ashley Fox Ninja Babysitter. This ninja doesn't wear black. I'm so proud of this. This stands up. This is the best Christmas gift I could have given to myself, was to be indulgent and come out here for you guys and show this to you. Almost 10 years ago we did that. These books are almost 20 years old. They are 20 years old. Culture war has been long and strong. Who am I going to get to publish my shit? Who's going to give me a bunch of money? Fucking no one. Get over yourself. I have to crowdfund it. I have to come out here and pitch to you guys directly. My story is, if you have to babysit, be very careful and don't fuck around. Because if you miss your chance to die rescuing a child, you don't get to enter heaven as a Valkyrie, as an angel. That's a good bit. That's a good bit. This is a good bit too. This is Conflicted, Four of Hearts. And I do remember it. I read it earlier. Usually I have to go back and read it again, but today I remember it. You are in a group of about 18 people. There are 3 groups. You guys are out on a mountain. The world has collapsed. There are 3 groups in your immediate area. One of them is about your same size. They're doing really good. You are doing really good. You have about a little less than 20 people each. And there is another group further down the hill of 50 people. And they're not doing so good. Excuse me. And the card says, here's the other detail. The group of 50 at the bottom of the hill are targeting and fucking with the other group of 18 closer to you. And they're doing well. So what do? Think about this. The group of 18 is doing something right. Your group is doing something right. The group of 50 is doing something wrong. Because you all have access to the same resources. They're doing well. You're doing well. They're not. The reason they're not is most likely because a conflict inside their leadership. One of the people who is influential. Now look. Whether or not you're influential, no one comes up to you and says, "Hey man, you're Mr. Influential. Hey man, people listen to what you say." No one is ever going to come up to you and fucking say that. You have to take responsibility for that yourself. You have to read the room and discover how other people are reacting to you and react accordingly. You have to take responsibility. And if you don't take responsibility for how the room can make you react, then you're not in control. And other people are in control of you. And other people can pull your strings in front of other people and get you to react certain ways in certain circumstances. You have to take accountability for who you are in any given scenario. I know people who don't. I know people who could have a lot more influence, but they sell themselves short. They don't believe in themselves for whatever reason. And other people fucking kick them around like soccer balls. Like soccer balls. And it's not that they don't stand up for themselves. They're very easy to stand up for themselves. It's that they have no moral compass. And you can see them do the wrong thing often enough that you can call them out on it. And if you can call someone out on something, that's power over, that is stacked power. Stacked power. I can't even call myself out on anything. I know there's stupid things I do with money. I certainly was not good with money this year, and people could talk shit to me about that. But a lot of people have had troubles with money. You know what I mean? I don't overspend. And I certainly am not, I'm not blowing my money on drugs or alcohol. That's for sure. I'm doing the things I need to do before the things I want to do. And this has become a need too, whereas in the past it was treated like an indulgent want. When I was younger, people saw me doing this, and they're like, oh yeah, sure, you just don't want to have a fucking job. And you read the wheels turning in their head. Of course I don't want to have a fucking job. Of course I want a career. Of course I want a chance to build something more for myself and my family. And now it's not even a wife and kids, it's my, brothers and sisters' wives and kids. Of course I want more for them. Of course I want more for my friends. Why not? Of course I want to do good. This is the best thing I've ever done in my life. This is better than the novels because this is teamwork makes the dream work. And the more people you can get on your team, the farther you can go. There's a saying, if you want to go far, go slow. If you want to go fast, go alone. I thought I was going to forget that, but luckily I remembered it. And as to this card, how do you handle this? Well, obviously, you have to befriend the other group of 18 first. Compare what you're doing with what they're doing and how the two of you can work together. You don't necessarily have to engage in their war yet. Don't let the other people down the hill know that you are supporting them, because then they will go hard against the both of you. Once you've done that, once you've made contact with them and you have people there, you're at peace with them, then you can be the person who barters a negotiation between these two groups. The way you do that is you have something to offer. You have your abundance to offer. They're going to only see your abundance as material wealth, but you know that your abundance is procedure and knowledge and teaching. What they're doing is replicable, and if you can give that to the 50 people, if you can teach them to fish, they won't be stealing your fish. If they're people who can't be taught, then you have another group, and then you can deal with that later. That's a different conversation. Anyhow, yeah, comics. Gutters are important. I like these pages. These pages work for me. These pages really, really work for me with the gutters. I love them. This page without the gutter, now granted, this is a moment. This is compressed. Gutters are time. Gutters are time. And Jay instinctually knows that better than I do. He's a better comic book creator than I am. He's a better artist than I am, but I'm a better writer. And if you don't have a writer, if you don't have a story, you don't have a comic book. So, but if all you have is story and you don't have any art, you don't have a comic book. You're just a writer. There's a lot of writers out there. So me alone, I can go far alone. I can go far alone, or we can go far to get. How does it go? I can go fast. I can get a lot done fast alone, but this will help us go farther. Go slow, have a team. We can go farther with the art. This can only get us so far. B.V. Larson's Undying Mercenaries, he has 17 books. He has 17 books, but he doesn't have J.R. Silla. There's a big fucking difference. Now, if you can do this alone, great. Show me someone who has my quality story with Jay's quality art. Teamwork makes the dream work, guys. Merry Christmas. I love you. See you tomorrow.